Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great day today. I wanted to talk a little bit about my personal experience with mold illness and being exposed to black mold. And it has been a wild ride for the last 2 years. I was living in black mold for many, many years when I was going through chiropractic school, and I did not know that I was in a very moldy home environment. And I was really sick through many of those years. And so, but I had no idea it was mold, and I tried everything to get better. Finally, I ended up taking a mold test, and it showed that I was in the 95th percentile for black mold in my body. And so I moved right out of there. But in the state of Florida, especially in the time period that it was in, there was a lot of water and a lot of flooding. And so I kept moving from place to place, and each place that I had, unfortunately, had mold in it. So it has been quite the mold experience. My whole life was turned upside down several times because of this. But the worst part of this experience was that it incredibly impacted my body and my brain. It took out my brain for several months. It was one of the most scariest experiences of my life to be that sick and be in a state of having to move again from black mold. And so if you are in this situation, know that as a physician, I will always listen to you. Know that any symptom that you have, most likely, if it's a mysterious one that nobody can figure out, oftentimes there is something driving the inflammation, and oftentimes it is mold. So there are many, many different ways to test for mold, both in the urine and energetically. So urine testing or lab testing is not the only way of testing for mold, even though it is a gold standard. And so I've had so much experience with mold and researching about mold and applying so many things to my body. So I wanted to share some things that actually worked and were super helpful. So getting away from the mold is always number one. You can, do remediation. If you do it professionally, that's the ideal. But a lot of people that I see can't do it professionally. So number one, get away from it. Even if you have to spend the majority of your time outdoors, if that's your only option, then get outdoors and away from the mold. Number two, working on my detox systems was so important. A lot of people have weak detox genetics, and I was one of them. Or I am one of them. So I actively have to think about how does my body detox, and how can I help it wellness-wise. Every day, I'm always thinking about that, and I'm always working with detoxification. And so I started to drink a lot of water. I started juicing a lot. I started eating a lot of cruciferous vegetables, and cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I've always loved Brussels sprouts. I was one of those weird kids that always loved them. But they're sulfur-based veggies, and they are super helpful. The sulfur in those veggies are super helpful for the liver. And so then I started to take supplements to optimize my liver. That included milk thistle. I took some anti-inflammatory supplements to help my whole body work better. Let's see. I did chlorella for binding. I did some different types of zeolite clay. I did tons of things to optimize my cells, shift my body more alkaline, and also I did things to ground my nervous system. So I started walking almost an hour a day at the beach, and the beach actually helps ground the nervous system, and pumping also helps stimulate your lymphatic system to pump toxins out of your body. Then I started to work on making sure that my elimination process was good, so that I was going number two, healthy every single day. So I started grinding up flax seeds and eating a lot more chia seeds. That was very helpful in that process. Let's see, I did a lot of chiropractic and acupuncture, and I did a lot with rewiring my brain as well, and balancing out my brain signaling, because for some people, their genetics, it depends on where your genetics are weak. That's where the mold will show up the most. And for me, it was my brain and my joints. Those were the two that got hit the hardest. And so I had to do a ton of healing, kind of rehab on my brain, nervous system wise, nutrient wise, anti-inflammatory wise, but also rewiring the hemispheres of my brain so that the signaling would balance out and it would shift my body into a healing response rather than an overstress response. And so during these, it was about 2.5 years, I spent a lot of time in the books, reading several great mold books. I went back to all my favorite brain wellness books, and I was immersed in my love of natural healing, but it was so incredibly scary. And because I was the one with the poor genetics and a lot of my communities, a lot of people didn't understand how devastating and harmful mold exposure was. So it was an extremely isolating experience. So if you have gone through this experience, or maybe you're in the middle of it, or just maybe the beginning of it, know that there is a step-by-step process to help you get out of the health state that you're in, and that you can definitely heal. Because there were many times I even questioned my ability to get on the other side, and this is my field, and I have such a great love of natural healing and cells. But I so understand how devastating mold illness can be. But know you can heal and know that it's possible. Wishing you a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.